Yep, it's about that time. I know you thought your parents would bring you to their room, sit you down, and tell you about where you came from. Well, nope, it's me. It's me, kids. My name is Andy Silvers, and today we're going to talk about consent in narrative fiction. So, you all know what consent is, but it's important to understand its place in narrative storytelling. If you're a writer, odds are you have or will write about a romantic relationship at some point. In that case, it's important to understand the role consent plays in narrative storytelling. To put it simply, consent in fiction is important because it's important in real life. Authors and screenwriters often get it wrong because they misunderstand the nature of the relatable protagonist. Oh yeah, it's often the good guys that are the problem. Writing villains who don't care about personal space is common. The creepiest villains often violate social norms to show their power and control. Villains are supposed to be evil, and thusly aren't really the problem here. It's actually the heroes. So, here's what writers do wrong. They make the main character, often male but not always, a pervy weirdo who violates sacred spaces often. The justification seems to be that they know the two people will get together anyway, so that makes it okay. But this sends the wrong message. It is not okay to stalk or cyberstalk. It's not romantic, it's creepy. Just because a guy or girl is hot doesn't excuse bad behavior. If you wouldn't do it in real life, you shouldn't write about it in your story. Keep in mind, this often happens to the protagonist of the story, which sends mixed signals because it is hard to root for a guy who sneaks into a girl's bedroom while she's asleep. Another common issue is slave romance. Typically, a female character will be some sort of servant or slave who ends up falling in love with their master or boss. This is not appropriate because bondage and Stockholm Syndrome are not romantic. Do not romanticize disgusting relationships. I'm not one of those people who says that consent means asking for permission to do every teeny tiny little thing. But it's fair to say that if you're not sure, ask. Also an easy rule, no means no. Now, I understand that as writers, we are often accused of using self-inserts. This means that the reader assumes that a character we wrote is secretly supposed to be us. I get it's annoying and it is good to separate authors from their works. But if you make the protagonist a creepy womanizer and then expect us to root for them, it's hard not to wonder about you. I understand that no character should be perfect, so if consent is a challenge for them, make that part of their character arc. It's more engaging to read, and it's easier to root for them. Some authors swing the pendulum too far the other way. They do well with the consent part, but forget that consent is only one piece of a healthy relationship. Characters who always argue, ignore each other, or lie to each other are not in a healthy relationship, even if consent is present. Depicting healthy relationships is important for readers the world over. People learn behavior from media they consume, so you want to paint a positive picture for your readers. If you write films, the same thing applies. The cool guy with the AK-47 doesn't just get the girl because he's handsome. He has to earn her trust. This is both realistic and meaningful. I want every writer to become better. And often, it's not even conscious when we write things that aren't appropriate or don't make sense. We've seen countless tropes in novels, movies, and television, and they just sort of become normal to us. I hope this video sheds some light on an important literary issue. I only really covered the basics here, but I think it's important to cover them so that when you are writing, you can think more consciously about the types of relationships that you present as being healthy. Please check out my latest novel. It's a coming-age book for middle grade readers called Red Sprites and Blue Jets. It has a 4.9 out of 5 stars on Amazon. And also like and subscribe to see all the latest content. I'll see you in the next video.